Coming up on today's Locked On Angels, we're continuing our grading 2021 series by talking about the Angels' social media accounts. And of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about Shohei Ohtani coming up in today's Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve Renato with you here today, the host of Locked On Angels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day every day. And for the first time, at least with me as the host, we are officially now on YouTube. So to our audio listeners who have been listening for a while now, this is my third week, of covering Locked On Angels now. So if you are looking to get something a little bit more here out of this podcast, you can go and do so on our new Locked On Angels YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the show notes. You can shoot me a follow on Twitter at Steve Granado, Granado. I'm active on Twitter and, of course, on the Locked On Angels account at Locked On Angels. Okay, with all of that out of the way, as you mentioned, we got some stuff to talk about here today. We're going to be wrapping up the grading series on Wednesday, so you can still be a part of the show. Of course, again, for our new YouTube viewers, if you haven't been listening, we've been grading everything that has to do with Angels baseball outside of what was actually on the field. So if you're curious about that, we already talked about Angels broadcast. We talked about the Angels Stadium experience, all that kind of stuff we've already covered. We give it out letter grades, and it's been a whole lot of fun. And I want to get you in on the action here on our last grading series. Again, coming up here on this Wednesday, we will be grading the fan experience as a whole. So we're going to be handing out everything else that hasn't been covered today. We're again going to be talking about the Angels social media accounts, but we have a chance to talk about the fan experience as a whole in 2021. So give me a call. I want to hear about what you thought about the 60-year celebration, what you thought about the apparel in the team store and online, and whatever else you can think of that we haven't already covered. Call our voicemail line, 714-409-6396. That's 714-409-6396. Okay, so that's going to come up on Wednesday again. Here in just a second, we'll talk a little bit more about our grading series. But before we get to that, we do have some news here today. Coming out over the weekend here, Shohei Ohtani is a Hank Aaron Award finalist. In case you don't know what the Hank Aaron Award is, it was created in 1999, and it's handed out to essentially the best offensive player. So Shohei Ohtani has been nominated for it. He's a finalist alongside Aaron Judge of the Yankees, Cedric Mullins of the Orioles, Matt Olson of the Oakland A's, Salvi Perez, who, was completely out of nowhere, totally took off and had a heck of a year. He's the Kansas City Royals guy. He has been nominated, and then Jose Ramirez from Cleveland. A lot of talk about this one, of course, alongside Vlad Guerrero with the Blue Jays. Forgot to mention that one, but that's what I was going to bring up right there is Vlad Guerrero seems to maybe be more in the realm for this award. It's the offensive category only. Obviously, we have been talking like crazy. The discourse around it has been, MVP debate obviously has been between Shohei and Vladdy Jr. So I'm curious to see how this one shakes out. He just won the East Bay player, Shohei did, of the year, and that was heavily skewed in Shohei's favor. Wasn't even close. He won 16 of the 19 votes. We talked about that on our Friday episode. But we'll see if that actually comes out to play here, or what kind of numbers we're going to be getting on these returns for these votes. You can actually vote on this, by the way. I'll leave the link in the episode description for both the YouTube and our audio side. Voting ends on October 15th, so that's coming up here this week. The award will be announced in November. Whoever wins it. So there's two winners, one for the American, one for the National League. Obviously, we care more so about the American League over here for Shohei. So do you think Shohei should be the winner in the American League side for the Hank Aaron Award? Again, since 1999, so it's a long time running, over 2 decades at this point. The only Angel that has ever won the Hank Aaron Award was, take a wild guess, Mike Trout. He won it back in 2014 and 2019. Coincidentally, 2 of his 4 MVP years, the 14 and 19 campaign. So he's the only Angel that's ever won it in its now 22 years of existence. And of course, he has won it twice. The reigning AL champ right now is Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox. So, I mean, it's a big award, and it's becoming bigger and bigger every year now that it's, kind of steeped in a little bit of history now. So we will see if Shohei can add his name as only the second Angel ever to be added to that list, and be the third time ever, all time, to win it as an Angel. So we'll see. Again, you can vote on that award, which is pretty cool that it does have a little bit to do with the fan side of things. So if you're interested in voting for it, you have until October 15th. Again, the link, it's on MLB.com. It will be linked in the show notes here. Okay, next bit of news. Not much of news, but this kind of spurred over the weekend as well over in the Locked On Angels Twitter account, which obviously I run. I posted something. I don't know why this hit my brain, actually. Kind of randomly hit my brain, but I'm curious what Angels fans had to think about this, and boy, do some Angels fans think about this. I posted on the 9th, so a couple of days ago. This has a couple of days left in the poll, by the way. I posted, if the Angels were to put one player's statue outside Angel Stadium, who would you want? Comment below, someone else, and no current players, obviously. We know Mike Trout would be the prime candidate for that, but we're not talking Mike right now. So I'm curious what Angels fans had to say, and the options I gave were Vlad Guerrero, Tim Salmon, Chuck Finley, and Nolan Ryan. So I've got 2 position players and 2 pitchers in there. Got kind of heated, weirdly enough. We're closing in on about 1,000 votes as of this recording, and it's pretty close right now. Tim Salmon is leading the way with 45.3% of the vote, 35% in favor of Vlad. Then it's checking in at number 3 is Nolan Ryan, and then Chuck Finley all the way down at 2%. Getting some Chuck Finley hate, which, what? Chuck Finley spent 14 years in the Angels organization, and before Mike Trout, made his name known, held the franchise record for career WAR. So one of the biggest players, especially on the mound, the Angels have ever had. And I was kind of surprised. There's some people that were like really mad that I mentioned Chuck Finley in the conversation. Some other, I kind of also threw this on Twitter too. Some other teams, obviously Jackie Robinson's out at Dodger Stadium. Also have Sandy Koufax out there, Ernie Banks, Ron Santo at Wrigley, and there's a bunch of throughout baseball. But the Angels don't have one outside of Angel Stadium. There are no statues at Angel Stadium. So I am very curious if fans would want that. 1, 2, that's something I've always wanted. We've talked about it again on the audio side of this show, not on the YouTube side, which we are again now on. But we've talked about how we want to create the culture around the Angels and really steep it in its history. And I feel like a statue is one of the things that kind of makes it feel more personal, right? You walk in Angel Stadium right now, and it's a pretty decent looking ballpark, and it's in pretty good shape as well, especially with the new video boards and stuff. The flames and the rock pile and the helmets and the hat, the whole thing at the main Angel Stadium entrance. So there are some things around the ballpark that kind of define it, and it's pretty hard to miss, especially with the Big A when you're driving past 57. Pretty hard to miss Angel Stadium. But overall, history-wise, there isn't a ton of it around the ballpark. I know they have, the numbers out in right field that are retired and things like that. So I am very curious about what Angels fans have to think about this. And again, a lot of people have made it known there with a comment below. Again, Twitter, you can only do 4 answers, so I couldn't put a bunch. Obviously I'm missing some big names, but those are the ones I felt like kind of the top echelon of guys that could potentially do it. Some other people have chimed in. Some have said Rod Carew. Some have said Garrett Anderson. Even got someone standing in line for Mike Scioscia, which obviously winningest manager in franchise history. He has over 1,000 more wins than the next guy behind him. So Mike Scioscia, I think that's, prime candidate as well. Not too many teams, to my knowledge, have coaches outside of their ballpark. They have Harry Carey is probably the closest thing they have out at Wrigley. And then some have also said Troy Percival, which I thought was fairly interesting. And I haven't gotten any, K-Rods, which is Francisco Rodriguez. If you're going to throw Percival in there, it feels like you can kind of throw K-Rod in there. No one said K-Rod yet, at least to my knowledge. And then one was kind of interesting. Someone on Twitter said Darren Erstad catching the final out of the 2002 World Series. That would be kind of cool. Kind of immortalize that moment. Right now they have the video play, the DVD being played on loop behind home plate, and they have the trophy back there and some World Series memorabilia, and then they have obviously the gold flagpole in left field. So there are some things to talk about the World Series stuff, but that's kind of interesting that the whole, Darren Erstad was a big part of that World Series team and a big part of this franchise for a long time. So that would be pretty interesting if the Angels were to ever do something like that. So I'm curious. Again, sound off. Go on over on Twitter. Is again linked in everything, YouTube and audio. All right, coming up next, we'll be jumping back into grading the season. We're talking about fan engagement and how the Angels and social media team handled 2021. But before that, this episode is brought to you by DirecTV. All right, does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another one that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for all the other stuff. It's like a total mess, right, when you're trying to watch TV like that. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, no annual contract. That's a big one for me. No annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Okie dokie, we're going to continue here with our grading series. Today we are grading the Angels' social media. We're going to be talking about Twitter, Instagram, and their YouTube channels here on today's show. So again, if you haven't been a part of the grading series yet, if you're just hopping on YouTube right now and you haven't heard everything else, we have already graded the Angels broadcast side of things from AM 830 to Bally Sports West. And of course, we talked about the Angels Stadium experience, talked about the food options, getting to the ballpark, fan engagement, all that kind of stuff. So we're grading all things. We're handing out letter grades for all things that have essentially nothing to do with baseball. So today we're going to talk about social media a little bit. If you want to get in on the conversation, of course, you can give us a voicemail, 714-409-6396. Like everything else, it's in the episode description. I want you to tell me about your overall fan experience this year. Again, that has nothing to do with baseball. I don't want to hear anything about how the Angels played. I want to hear about what did the team actually do to engage you as a fan. So let me know over on our voicemail line or, of course, on Twitter at LockedOnAngels. Okay, let's talk about Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to talk about these together because they're fairly similar, at least from a content side of things where you're running these kind of accounts. So they're essentially posting the same things on both platforms. Maybe they're, kind of made a little bit different, a different aspect ratio and things like that. But for the most part, the things that you're posting on Instagram, you're also going to be posting on Twitter. Obviously, Twitter, you can update a lot more and not be annoying to people. But so let's go ahead and talk about it. I think the Angels fan engagement is getting better. And it's fine. I don't think they're doing a bad job. For years, the Angels social team seemed to be lacking in a lot of stuff. They seem to be without an identity a lot of times, but that is definitely starting to change. But it's very welcome. I am very happy that the Angels Twitter and social team is starting to get much, much better. I do some meme stuff, obviously the David Fletcher stuff and the Ippei and the Shohei stuff, and I think it's pretty good. I think it's funny and it's engaging, and I know fans really like it. I know a lot of fans will tweet back with their stuff, and they'll respond, and the Angels team is, again, starting to get a lot better at fan engagement. This year, obviously, was the 60-year celebration. I think they did a decent job. There wasn't a ton of it. Mostly it was just kind of like picture not collages, but just like a bunch of pictures on Instagram, right? It's like, here's 60 years of this, and this is the from 2000 to 2008. Here's a bunch of pictures, and it was cool to relive some of those moments. So I really did like those, and I know fans really like those as well. I'm always a big proponent of steeping into your history. Joe Madden's really into that too. So I did appreciate that the Angels social team kind of took that and ran with it. I wish they would have done more. We'll talk about that here in the last segment about YouTube and stuff, but I wish they would have done a little bit more for the 60-year celebration, especially given that there wasn't much to talk about on the field aside from Shohei. I also was a little disappointed here as we're coming to the end of Hispanic Heritage Month. Not a lot. I could only really find like one post on the Instagram page that just had a bunch of, it said Somos Angels, which obviously means we are Angels. But there wasn't a ton of Hispanic Heritage Month stuff. We've been doing Hispanic Heritage Month here on Locked On Angels and talking about, lost players like, Eric Ibar and, other guys like that. Luis Bologna, we've talked about. Those are all on the audio side of the show. So I wish the Angels had done more in that regard here for Hispanic Heritage Month. They've kind of gone a little bit quiet here in the offseason. I get it, long year, and, you don't have to run the accounts as much as you were during this season. So I understand that they're not doing as much and they deserve to not have to do as much, but I wish there would have been a little bit more for Hispanic Heritage Month, at least, a post a week, 2 posts a week, something. Other teams are doing some good Hispanic Heritage Month stuff, and I wish the Angels had done the same. They do a little bit of giveaways. They always do that, the side camera, the dugout camera kind of thing. They do that a lot for the home runs. Every team does that. That's, universal at this point. And everyone loves it. That's why they do it, because it gets a ton of engagement. The stuff that doesn't have the play-by-play call and it's not the TV stream, it's just the side camera. You're seeing that down, at the college level. You're seeing high school starting to do stuff like that too. So it's cool, and they're not stopping anytime soon, and I want it. I always want more of that. So it's pretty cool stuff. But I think it's overall the Angels' Twitter and Instagram are starting to get their own identity finally, which is just, it's such a breath of fresh air. I think they're finally allowing the social team to actually run it. For years, it felt just lackluster, like they didn't care much about it, or that they weren't allowed to care much about it, or, they didn't get enough resources to do it. But now it feels like there's a full team running it that actually care and are like coming up with ideas and starting to do things. So I really do appreciate that. And I know fans appreciate that. And I got to imagine now with all the Shohei buzz, globally, that's got to be helping out a ton for trying to get your fan engagement up, which obviously sells tickets and sells a bunch of things, apparel and all that kind of stuff. And I think maybe the biggest thing for me on the Twitter and Instagram side that I really liked this year was just the design of it all. I really liked how the design looked this year overall. The palm tree tie-in stuff was really cool. I liked that. They used a lot of baby blue this year, which, you can see behind me if you're watching. I like baby blue. I use it on a lot of my 2 of my 3 podcasts, and the 2 that I've designed, I like the color baby blue a lot, and I like when the Angels had the Wings logo were the blue, and I know a lot of fans like that too. So they kind of threw it back to that this year and used a lot of baby blue in their graphic design. So I really like that stuff. I think they did a pretty decent job. Again, I think it's just more defining the culture around the team and defining and getting their own identity, which they have continued to do. And I like it. Keep going. If any of the Angels social team is watching this right now, great job, guys. You were doing pretty good this year, and I want you to just keep pushing and keep making more cool stuff like that. And ultimately, it's just going to, turn into money, because people will buy things based on that kind of stuff. So overall, I am grading the Angels social media here for Twitter and Instagram. I'm giving it a B. I'm giving it a B overall. I think it's pretty darn good. And I hope it gets better. That's all I really want. And that's what we're doing this grading series for. It's some tough love, but overall, I just want to see the team create cool stuff for us, the fan. I like it. Keep doing it. And, good work this year. All right, in our last segment, we'll be grading the Angels YouTube channel. But before we do that, this episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Did you know that Built Bar has a ton of different delicious flavors? There's something for everybody. When you are talking to a Built Bar fan, they're definitely passionate about their favorites. If you don't know those flavors, you're totally missing out. Here are a bunch of them: coconut, raspberry, mint brownie, salted caramel, strawberry, oranges, cookies and cream, German chocolate. There's a bunch of them. There's plenty for everybody, which is cool. And especially what's really cool about it is if you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get a mix box. You'll get 2 of each of the 9 flavors, so 18 bars. That's really sweet and a sweet little deal. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're super healthy too. Here are the macros for it: 17 to 18 grams of protein. This is all per 1 bar. Calories from 130 to 180. 4 to 5 grams of sugar, only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs, and they taste really good. They're all healthy, and they have some pretty good flavors. So you should definitely check out Built Bar. If you order today and get the grasshopper cookie or raspberry or whatever you like, Built Bar is the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team. So sweet. Love the track and field team. Use this offer code. Go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15. You get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15. LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Alrighty, final segment of the day here on this Monday. Okay, don't forget, call us your voicemail line, 714-409-6396. You could be on the show tomorrow. If you give us a call right now and leave us a voicemail, you could be on the show tomorrow. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's talk about the Angels YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is decent. That's where I'll start. I think it's some decent stuff. This is what they got of there. If you've never checked out the Angels YouTube channel, which by the way is kind of hard to find on YouTube, weirdly enough, if you search Angels baseball, it actually pops up the MLB stuff, all the MLB uploaded stuff. It doesn't, you have to like go to like this advanced search, click channels, then you can find the Angels channel, which is kind of a bummer. So that kind of tells you how the algorithm thinks of the Angels YouTube channel. But they have a bunch of like mic'd up segments. I know they did like Jose Suarez and I think they did like Jared Walsh in the past and stuff. I do like the mic'd up segments. I think everybody likes mic'd up segments. They have like these little feature things with players. I know they did one with David Fletcher recently. That's kind of cool. They kind of give them like dumb questions like favorite superhero and things like that. You know, it's kind of basic and easy stuff to do. I know they do some spring training things like that when, you know, they're out at the ballpark and they have a bunch of all of them ready to go for, you know, long periods of time. They'll do that. So I'll take that too. They do this Under the Halo series, which is pretty decent. They kind of sit down and chat with one specific player about their upbringing and that kind of stuff. They had one on Max Stassi that was pretty cool. So I do like the Under the Halo series. And then they use Joe Madden for some things. I wish they used Joe Madden more. I think he's really smart and has a lot of, you know, history knowledge of especially the Angels. There's one, this is not from this year, but he did like a thing about Gene Autry Stadium, which is like this complex in Mesa, Arizona. That's kind of cool. That was uploaded last year. So if you're looking for like a longer talk with Joe Madden about kind of a random ballpark and it's tied to the Angels, you should check that out. It's pretty decent. But yeah, I want them to do more things like that. I know Joe's super busy, so it's not like, you know, you can get him for everything. But I think this is where the Angels really missed out on a massive opportunity this year for the 60-year celebration. There was not much. There was a couple things uploaded for the 2002 World Series. They had talked with like David Eckstein about remembering the World Series and stuff like that. But this is where the Angels easily could have done something more, and it was on this YouTube channel. If you really wanted to blow out the 60-year celebration, you should have dedicated prioritize this area on the YouTube channel, because it's just a perfect platform for that kind of stuff. These conversations with old players and, you know, roundtable discussions and just kind of like just really build it out. I really wish they would have done that, and they just didn't really do it. If you're looking for inspiration, I know I talk about the Cubs a lot, but I think the Cubs, aside from the field, remember, we're not talking about the field, but run their organization well in this regard. Go look at the Cubs YouTube channel, and it is a full-fledged like television channel. Like it's like a television network. I know they have Marquee, but they do a massively incredible job. They have full-fledged shows that are fully produced and realized, and they have documentaries. They have full like hour-long documentaries, hour-plus long documentaries on their YouTube channel for free that are all created in-house, at least to my knowledge, and they're really good. They have one all about Wrigley Field and how they like redid Wrigley Field. They have one about the Carey 20 strikeout game. They have some really, really cool stuff, and you should definitely check it out. The Dodgers, if you're looking for a little bit closer to home, they pull a lot of their Sportsnet content, you know, from their actual channel where they do, you know, the backstage Dodgers, and they'll just kind of pull segments from there. So a bit of a cop out from them. They don't have a dedicated team for that, but they run really good social anyway. So I'll totally give them a pass. So overall, I'm giving the YouTube channel a C. Because of that. I think they do a run of the mill. I wish they would kind of explore it a little bit more, and hopefully they continue to kind of push out some of the content. But a lot of it has to do with, you know, how much people actually click on it. So the more you click on it, maybe the more they'll make. I'll leave it at that. But I do want to ask you, again, I'll turn this over to the fans. What would you like to see out of it? Are you subscribed to the Angels YouTube channel? Maybe not. I wasn't until more recently, just because there wasn't a ton of things that they don't really push it, right? It's probably a lot of people who are listening to this like, oh, I didn't even know the Angels had a YouTube channel. Do you want more Angels content from the team itself, or do you think that Bally Sports is enough? Did that get you by, you know, with Angels Weekly and stuff? But again, really check out the Cubs. If the Angels could do like a Cubs-style YouTube channel, it would be pretty sweet, man. I really dig their account and their documentaries and stuff. I really like it. While you're over on YouTube, again, don't forget we are now on YouTube. You can check us out there for every episode. We are right there. We are uploaded everywhere. It's pretty hard to miss Locked On Angels every single day. Again, thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Get into the voicemail line, 714-409-6396. Give us a call. We are taking your food and drink recommendations from around the ballpark. Remember, we are going to be talking about food options and all that stuff coming up here in the next week or so. So I want to get your guys' take on it. Where do you go pregame? Where do you go postgame? Before and after an Angels game? Hit me up on that voicemail line. You can be on a future episode. If you like this episode and you want to check out other stuff that I've done a podcast called Our Game. It's examining the Latin contributions to American baseball. A lot of fun over there. 8-part series that is available now. Wherever you are listening to this episode, you can listen to Our Game. That's OURGAME. It's linked in the show notes. And of course, my other podcast that has nothing to do with baseball, Movies I Should Have Watched. It's a podcast where my best friend Alex and I are watching old movies and reviewing them. All the movies we were supposed to watch, people told us to watch, and we just never did. That line, right? That like archive of movies that you were supposed to watch and you just, I never got around to Wall-E. Sorry. We're watching movies like that, and we are rating them. We just are about to do Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th coming out on Wednesday. We are in the middle of our Halloween month, so if you're interested in movies and you're interested in me in a much looser format and just kind of a jokey format and you need to escape from the world, Movies I Should Have Watched is available everywhere. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, I'm not at Locked On. I'm at Steve Granado, Granado. Of course, you can follow too, at Locked On Angels. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day, as we mentioned. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present, but don't call him Paul Francis Sullivan. Call him Solely. It's free and available on all platforms. It'll totally get you through the postseason. All right, that's going to do it for us here in today's episode of Locked On Angels. Thanks so much again for checking us out. And if you're new to our YouTube channel, make sure to hit that subscribe. And hey, if you're listening in your car, get to your destination safely and then hit that subscribe button in our YouTube channel as well. All right, guys, we will talk to you tomorrow with more Angels goodness. I'm Steve Granado. Thanks for checking us out. Later.